Hello and welcome to Breakaway with Dawn and Friends. Today, I don't have a real topic because I have so much to share. So, we're just going to have a girlfriend conversation with Claudia. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, Dawn. Thank you for having me today. It's always a pleasure.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
Yes, it's been a couple weeks,
It has been.
right?
I miss
So,
you.
right? I'm like, we need some girlfriend time. So, um, I know that you came to see me and you're aware, but for some of the listeners that don't know, I was a first time vendor at the Boss Babe Expo.
Yes, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. So, if you don't know, the month of March is celebrates women internationally, and March 8th is International Women's Day.
Yeah.
So, what's up? SEV is an app, and I saw them um, posting or advertising about wanting vendors, and I thought, oh my gosh, how amazing would it be
Mm-hmm.
if I go show up as a vendor and promote my website, my podcast, my life coaching.
Yes.
So I think I had 3 weeks to pull this off.
That's pretty good.
Right? So I said, let's do it. I think you might know by now I'm a bit of a risk taker. So I
Mm,
said, you know what? What do I have to lose?
that's right.
And, you know, you'll never completely be ready for anything.
Hmm.
So my biggest message today, my breakaway tip would be waste time. Don't sit and wait for the perfect time because it'll never be the perfect time.
Right. And isn't that when we find ourselves, the more we think and dwell on something, we're consistently finding reasons why not to go through with that potential risk.
Yeah,
Have
you
you noticed that?
essentially talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Yep. So I thought, okay, so if you have listened to the Zombie Vixen episode, um,
Hmm.
which is my neighbor, she just fell into being a vendor of selling clothes and stuff, and it was through just her being creative, and she just
Hmm.
fell into it. So she did inspire me a little bit with the merch that I chose to sell.
Yeah.
So I sold some T-shirts. I made a calendar, a really cute calendar that each month has a different quote or phrase or something inspirational.
Hmm.
I made that myself.
Nice.
And tote bags, because as women, we always like carrying stuff around.
Right.
So, and then I gave out some like inspirational little journals, like little notebooks.
Yeah.
It was really fun, by the way. Like, um, I have to tell you, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what to expect, but I'm that type of person where, what do I have to lose? I'm just going to try it.
Exactly. Exactly. You took the chance, I think, and you know what? To be quite honest with you, it was just the time that I was there. It was so nice, Don, to just kind of take it all in. Right. I saw your booth. I saw your what you were promoting, and it just kind of for me, I think it put the pieces together, right? There was so much that you had been promoting and just sharing and your constant messages and tips that your giveaways, right? In your messages. I think that's only the beginning of many more that I'm sure you're going to have. I was so
I
happy
hope
to see you
so. I
there.
love thank you. I loved it because it was all obviously it's Women's Day, so it was all women-owned companies, which
Yeah.
was really really nice to see. And maybe because that was the theme, I have to say everyone was so nice because I
Hmm.
have heard horror stories about people being catty and petty, which is interesting. So I think with the message of the day, with it being about women, everyone was so nice. And uh, coincidentally,
Yeah.
there was another coach there. She was or is a confident coach.
Ooh, nice.
And so what was funny is when I had signed up, and you have to fill out an application or whatever, and they're like, what are you like, what kind of merch, like what merchant, excuse me, what kind of vendor are you, and then what do you have, right?
Right.
So I put life coach, and then I just put merch, right, or whatever. I just kept it simple, and I
Right.
thought I'm pretty sure I'm going to be the only damn life coach because maybe I'm wrong, but I was like, I don't think I've seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly didn't think I would have someone else in my niche there.
Right.
And what was so funny is I was wearing a pink blazer,
Mm-hmm.
as was she.
I love it.
It's a bold color, I know, but she
It
had
is.
sequins on one side, which was really cute.
Oh, that's really cute.
So
Mm-hmm.
my friend was like, "Oh my God, there's another girl here with the pink blazer." So I said, "Okay, cool, like whatever, right?" She's like, "But she has sequins," and I'm like, "Girl, did you see my shoes? I have like some fuchsia pink, like these beautiful sneakers." She's like, "Yeah, you're right." I'm like, "So she can have her sequins, and I'll have my pink shoes."
There we go.
But I got to network, and I met her, and she lives down the street from me.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, so it was really nice. I had some people come up
Mhm.
and ask, "What is life coaching? What is it? How does it work?" And I gave out daily mantra cards.
Nice.
So I mean, and I told my friend, even if they don't make eye contact or look my way, I am shoving that in their face.
There you
So I literally, you walk by my booth, I've said, "Excuse me, I'm giving away a daily mantra."
there you go.
Told them I'm a life coach, and life coach, I'm working from within. So
Hmm.
although we
Hmm.
have beauty on the out, it is
Yeah.
the inside that we focus on, right? So
Right.
it was so cute to see them. Oh wow! And like three people said, "Wow, we need more life coaches." I'm like, "Well, I'm here."
Let
Three
me sign you up.
Yes, one girl was like, "Huh." She goes, "I need to send my friends your way because they talk off my ears." And she goes, "It's my training." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "But with a life coach that
There
knows how
you
to
go.
deal with that,
Yeah.
send them my way." So
I
it
love
was,
it.
look, it was really fun because it's something I said I wanted to do. I did it, and if you already know, to me, that's already a success, right?
Absolutely. You know what, Don, right now that you said, you work from within, I don't know if it was coincidence or not, and I like to think not everything's coincidence, but the booth next to you, right, to the right of you, they focus on the exterior significantly, right? Which
Yeah.
is great, body sculpting and whatnot. But I thought, wow, talk about it was meant to be. Like you're
Yes. So do you know what was funny? I walked up to the girl and said, "Hey, how funny." I said, "You work on the outside. I work on the in."
Mm,
She chuckled and I said, "I'm a life coach." And she's like, "Wow, how nice." And so I thought, how funny that they put us like next to
I
each
know,
other.
I
So
know.
all the women that are coming to you that are looking to improve their outside, they can come on over and I'll help them with the in. And that I
Exactly.
literally, and it was funny because when she first set up, it just said eyebrows or brows, right? So I
Oh,
didn't
okay,
know about the whole sculpting thing until she was done setting up because
okay.
the people that was helping her set up were, I think, came like an hour after her. I don't know, like later, right? So because it's so chaotic and you're doing, I didn't realize until much later. So at
Mm-hmm.
first I told people that, "Oh, I'm a life coach and I work from within or whatever."
Within,
And so since that was something I said and I was saying, I turned around and said, "Oh my gosh, she does body sculpting." So I walked over and said, "Hey, how funny." So yeah,
I
I
love
was,
it.
thank you for noticing that. But yeah, that was funny. But the poor people, the girls next to me, I didn't realize it because I wasn't paying too much attention, but
Right.
um, they didn't have, I don't think, really people interact, but they too weren't, I don't think, really out there either.
Okay.
I asked the girl something, because it was my first time, and she says, "I don't worry about it. This is more just for like advertising and getting more exposure." Uh,
Hmm.
and I just thought, okay, that's good because that's what I was there for. I thought, you know what? I want to plant the seed. I just want to get my name out there. I just want to get life coaching. I have
Yes.
no expectations.
Right.
I just want to, start doing, you know what I mean? And figuring it out later. And
Sure.
so, I would like to think that some people were touched by it, but it was cute. And even one girl walked up and bought two shirts and started posting about it. And I said,
Oh.
"Oh my God, that is so nice." Like, and she had 9,000 followers. So she
Ooh.
tagged me, and I thought that was so nice. So it was a really good experience. I'm going to do it again. I want to
Oh,
do it again.
very nice. Yes.
So it'll be interesting. So that was
Yeah.
really, really fun. So, I do want to encourage people to invest in themselves,
Hmm.
right? Like that's
Yeah.
your best investment is investing in yourself, believing in yourself. And I told your daughter that day, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. And I truly
Absolutely.
believe that. Did she tell you that, by the
Yeah,
way?
she did.
Okay, good. I even told her, "Do you talk in the mirror? She's so cute." She's like, "Yes." I'm like, "What? You go, girl." I love that.
She does. And you know what? I think it was great because she actually, I had been talking about the event leading up to the day, and she asked me, she's like, "Are you okay if I go with you?" I was, "Absolutely. I was planning on taking you, well, asking you if you wanted to join, but I really enjoyed just being there with her, right? And again, surrounded by so many females and business owners and I thought, wow, how empowering is it to be in a room full of successful women or women that are really trying to again focus on themselves and then also share the wealth with
Mhm.
everyone else, with the community. I mean, what better way to give back, right?
Yeah, no, I loved it, and it really did spark something. So, I I feel only, how do I say this? But like, I feel like you said earlier, this is just the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So I felt like I broke off the band-aid. I literally introduced myself as a life coach.
Yes.
I just been doing this on social media to my phone. I mean, literally
Right.
people comment, but for me, it feels like I'm just talking to the phone. So
Exactly.
it was just so nice to be in person and to connect because that's my biggest thing. I love connecting. So,
Hmm.
and then too, I had my friend with me. This is my way of hoping to encourage her,
Hmm. Yeah.
without like pressuring her because I do get on her about doing, certain things.
Sure.
So I want her to show her as hard as it is, it's that easy just to do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so she is the one that also showed me. She's the one that saw it first, the expo,
Oh,
and sent
that's
it to me. She's like, "Oh, you should promote." And I'm like, "Oh, I took it further. Like, yeah, I really
sign
want
me
this."
up.
Yeah. So I hope so. And there was young girls there too. So I really do hope.
Hmm.
I gave them the daily mantra and I said, every morning after prayer, assuming you pray, you need to read this. So I hope. I can only hope. Okay. So I just
Absolutely.
wanted to share that little bit. But what I also want to share, which I think it's, maybe it connects to what we're speaking about, but I did watch. Oh, well, first, let me say this. Most of you don't know, but Jennifer Lopez is my sister from another mother. Claudia knows. Unfortunate for Claudia. So she is my sister from another mother because my mother is American, not Puerto Rican. And so she's my sister from another mother because my dad's Puerto Rican. And I've always felt a connection to her. And I know that sounds funny and weird. Like, I'm not a fan like I feel like most of her fans are, oh, she's beautiful, she's talented, da, 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 da. No, I swear there's a connection. And this is why I'm like, she was my sister from another mother. Like, there's just something that we had a past life together. And I know that sounds crazy, but there's something. But anyway, so I do love her. If anyone knows me, knows that. So she came out with a movie, like, it's kind of like a musical on Amazon Prime.
Hmm.
And it's This Is Me Now. So
Hmm.
she had an album, This Is Me Then. And I love that album. And that's when she was in love with Ben Affleck and he was her muse. And I have every album and I loved it. Anyways, so 20 years later, 22 years, whatever it's been, they're back together. She's inspired again. Like she hasn't put out an album. And I think that was her last album, honestly.
It's been a while.
So now she's
Right.
inspired again. And so, um, she has another album coming out, but she wanted to do it differently. And
Hmm.
so she created a musical uh, with her album, though. So these are all her actual songs that are in her album. It's
Okay.
not a music video. It's not necessarily a movie. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But it's a love story. But you're gonna assume it's about her and Ben, and it's not.
Mm.
And so on top of the musical, which isn't very long, but I loved it. Um, she did it like a documentary, so she documented the whole process. And so she pitched the idea, everything was going through, they were going to pay her all of that stuff, and then I don't remember why, you have to watch it, but they pulled the plug and didn't do it. And she's like, I got this far, like I got to do it, like this is something I feel I have to do, right? And
Yeah.
so people were like, why are you going to do this? They're going to think it's about you and Ben, you're going to open that door to the criticism, all these things, like you're really putting yourself out there, right? And
Right.
she's like, no, but it's not, and I forget what they call it, but it's not, oh shoot, I was supposed to write it down. It's not like where it's about your life, but it's inspired by it, right? Like certain
Right.
things.
Okay.
So I forget what they call it. Dang it. But anyways, I'll put it in the description.
There you go.
Yes, thank you. So what's so funny is I know I knew this about her, and you forget things, but Jennifer Lopez is the middle child. So there's
Mm,
three girls, and she's the middle girl.
okay. Okay.
So if you listen to any of these podcasts or episodes, I tell you there was five kids in my family, three girls, and I am not only the middle child but also the middle girl. So I truly have middle child syndrome, and that is a thing.
Yeah.
And so when I was watching this, I'm like, oh my God, this is why you resonate. And I feel like
Mhm.
a connection with her because um, she's a middle child.
Yeah.
We get neglected. We don't feel loved. Okay. And so I'm going to say that first before I talk about what she says, right? So as you heard me say before, you
Mhm.
are like, you do get, as a middle child, you do get neglected. I don't care what anyone says. Okay. And this is why I told my kids, I will not have a third. Someone would severely get neglected. And I'm not okay with that because I dealt with that.
I love it.
So I feel that, like, believe it or not, like being the middle child, you're truly the strongest, like in my experience,
Mm,
obviously. Okay. So
okay.
I feel the oldest, and you please let me know, the oldest seeks validation because
Mhm.
in the beginning, it's all about them and everything. So they get all the praises. They're so tension on them. And then when you have kids after them, they're
Yeah.
seeking that, like, wait, what happened? All the eyes came off of me, or I have to share, right? So
Sure.
then they seek that validation.
Mm.
So middle child, hello. It's like you're not that important because there's someone before you and after you. Like, so the middle child gets neglected. So, anyways, what I found so interesting is that in the movie, and you have to, or the documentary part, you have to see it. She explains it, but even in the musical part, um, what was following her and giving her like keeping up at night and all of these things, and people thinking you've been married 4 times, 3 times, whatever it is, like all of these things, and she's like, what is it that I'm searching for, longing for? And
Yeah.
it's the fact that she, when she was her 7-year-old self or whatever, she came back to tell her, you neglected me, you stopped loving me.
Oh.
And I thought that was so deep, right?
Mhm.
So I'm going to tell you, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. That was not my experience as middle child, right? So I thought that was very interesting. And when she was a girl, she would always say, "I want to be in love." Like that was her thing,
Mm.
being the middle child and her experience. And so she didn't love herself, and she put everyone first, and she loved everything but herself. So she
Mhm.
neglected herself because it wasn't about her parents not loving her and all of that. This was
Sure.
her self love and worth.
Yeah.
And I thought
Wow.
that was so deep, Claudia.
That is. I mean, for her to acknowledge that, and because how many times do we realize we lose ourselves somewhere along the line, right? And we stop, we start caring more for others and doing for others more so than for ourselves,
Hmm.
right? And then we're lacking this need, or this, we're trying to fill this void somewhere. So we perhaps seek it through relationships, or finding love,
Hmm.
or finding the
Hmm.
right whatever object if you're into material things. And it's this constant need, right, to fill that void. So that was pretty powerful. And you're talking about the position in your family. So essentially your birth order. And there is such a thing. I mean, there's research and articles and whatnot that one can read about, but it's really interesting that we each understand where that's coming from, and how our birth order impacts the dynamics in our family, how and when and what could happen. And in fact, there's, I mean, we don't have to go further into that, but there's like specific roles that one takes. People always say there's a black sheep of the family, or there's a the scapegoat, or the peacekeeper, or there's different elements that we all like have,
Play a
like,
role. Yeah.
yes, play a
Yeah.
role in. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they help shape us in some way.
Isn't that crazy? And so even though I am the middle child, by the way, I don't know. I would like to say I was also the somewhat of a black sheep because
Mm-hmm.
I removed myself. when I was 16 and a half from my environment.
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's something I decided and stuck with, right?
Yeah.
So I literally went off and did my own thing,
Yeah.
right? And I literally had to disconnect from family,
Right.
to survive, right? So in a way, I feel like I was the black sheep.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's interesting. But we've talked about this before, and I don't know on episodes or any, but we have talked about that. And when I was telling you, and I know I think we talked about it when I was watching one of my, housewives, and
Yeah.
I forget who she was. I don't know if she was a therapist, what she was, but she came in and she talked to two sisters because they've had such a up and down relationship, and that's when I learned what you just said. She says, "Well, you all had a role to play."
Mhm.
Right? And
Mhm.
so they were three sisters too. And so um, I want to say this, I think it was Kyle. I think Kyle is also the second because Kathy's first, Kyle, and then I think Kim. I think that's the order. I don't know. Okay. Or maybe she's the baby. Maybe she was the baby. But, anyways, it doesn't matter. But so she explained to her that that was Kathy's role, whatever it was at the time. I don't know what it was. And
Sure.
I just thought,
Mhm.
oh my God, that's so interesting. Because when I think about it too, yes, there was one of us as a peacemaker, one of us as a black sheep, one of us, and I just
Mhm.
thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
But thank you for saying that. But going back to Jennifer Lopez and her story, but what at least my takeaway is when she dated Ben back then, and then
Mhm.
being married to him now, it's like she's her best version, and like he
Mhm.
helped. And what I understood from it is like he helped her love herself and see who she is.
Mm. Wow. So then that was a transformation. And mind you, it took in a span of however long it did, because this is what you say, 20 years later. I think
Yeah,
this is like
yeah, yeah,
their 2.0 version of their
yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
And look how far she's come. So this is really meaningful. I mean, for her to put it
Oh,
out there.
yes, and this has not been done before. And again, I think people think it's a love. It's not. It's not about a man and a woman. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Right.
this was about her finally understanding that
Mhm.
she was seeking that love and validation from herself because she stopped. Oh my, it's just I watched it twice. Like it was that
So,
good.
but it sounds like it really resonated with you, and it really like struck a couple chords because you can perhaps relate to that. And then it probably drew you more of a connection. Like, I don't know how.
So what I wanted to, the reason why I brought this up is because I thought it was interesting. So for me, that
Mhm.
wasn't my experience with myself, but you know how we all have talents and gifts, right? And
Right.
so I can just tell you from what I remember. It's just something, there's certain things I just always have known just because I've known it's been in me. And I feel now I realize that was a gift that was given to me.
Yeah.
And so, like at 16, I'm looking in the mirror telling myself, I love you. You're so pretty. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like I had to literally find it within myself.
Right.
So I thought that was funny that like you have, a middle child and she's a middle child and we all have different like, but it's just how you're built and how you absorb and process,
Yes.
right? So I thought, wow, like I knew at a young age I had to find it within myself. I had to do it for
Right.
myself, right? And
Right.
so I'll tell you, I remember so when I was born, I had asthma, almost died. And so growing up, I was sick a lot, I was on the inhaler till I was about 10. And then I was so over it. And I said, I'm so done with it. I'm never doing that again. Until this day, I've never had an inhaler. And I feel if I would have never done that, I would have been reliant on that
Sure.
thing. Right? So
Mhm.
I feel like things like that, just certain things where I'm like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm done with it. Right. So I
Mhm.
didn't really go to school a lot. I missed a lot of things. I was very to myself. I was just a certain way. Okay. So
Okay.
then um, I remember in ninth grade, it just literally just waking up and thinking, oh my God, if I don't make changes, I'm
Yeah.
going to be just like my family, the things that I say every day that
Mhm.
I don't want to be and don't, you know what I mean? So I
Yes.
just remember waking up and it was like instilled in me. It was just, I don't know how to explain it. At the time, I didn't realize it was just a gift, right? So then I think from ninth grade is when I started to care and want
Mhm.
more for myself, right? So then, how old were you at ninth grade? I don't know. How old was I? The
About
15,
15. Yeah.
right?
Probably about 14,
So
15.
right. So then think about that. At 16 is when I remember because I was working at Burger King. But I remember, um, telling myself I love myself. I'm so pretty, and being adamant that I will find it and I will do it myself.
Mhm.
So I just found that interesting. That like how she processed and worked that out, and then how I did, like it was that, so that just resonated in that sense. Like it I love human behavior. We've talked about this,
Yes.
and I love like seeing people, how they process things differently, how they deal with things differently. And so
Right.
what was driving her in
Hmm.
one way, it was driving me, but we had processed those things in different ways.
Right, right. And I think that's the, I mean, for you it was detrimental to, survive. And
Mhm.
you could have picked that up from different traits, right? Maybe somewhere down the line, your parents up until that age planted some type of seeds that you didn't realize they did, that then help formulate like, no, I'm on survival mode. I have to, there's no buts, ifs and ands. I'm doing this, right?
Yeah.
There's
So,
no
and we've talked about that, right? So yeah, my dad taught me not to depend on a man.
time.
And he told me there one day I won't be here. Little
Sure,
did we know that he would die so young. He died at the age 47.
sure.
And so I was only 28, so he would always say that, like, you can't even depend on me. I won't be here one day. So,
Mm,
he taught me to, stand on my own 2 feet, think fast,
yeah.
and, I've said it before. I didn't realize it at the time, but my mom showed me what not to be.
Hmm. Wow.
So yes, so they did teach me valuable lessons, and so
Right.
clearly I was able to survive on my own, per se, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
Right.
I went from house to house, whatever. It doesn't matter the details,
Right.
but I did not depend on my parents, and I never went back. So I
Right.
have since then always been on my own, or without my
Hmm.
parents in that sense. But I just thought it was interesting, the whole middle child syndrome, and
Yeah.
how you function with
Right.
that, and so, but I thought it was so funny that she, not funny, but like she neglected herself.
Yeah.
And it took her years and years of therapy and all of
Right.
these relationships and all of these things
Yeah.
to like figure that out. And it's like, wow. And then, so I
Mm.
feel lucky that, at such a young age, without even knowing it, like I just
Right.
knew, like,
Right.
okay, if I don't do this, who's going to do it for me? Right. So
Exactly.
I had to find it within myself. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, I just thought that was
Yeah, no, and I'm with you because I think, and that's the thing, you don't know, right? You don't know what your journey is going to look like, and certain circumstances may seem similar to others, but then you don't realize like you took it and you were the way you described yourself. And then say JLo's situation was different in that she felt she needed someone to fill her cup while
Mhm,
you were filling your own because you were
mhm.
on survival mode,
Yeah,
so it's just, and that's what's fascinating of back to what you were saying, Don, is the human
yeah,
behavior aspect of it, right? You just
yeah.
never know the impact it's going to have, given if you have two children raised in the same home
Mhm,
by the same two parents,
mhm.
how different each one of those children can turn out to be, given that they're in the same type of environment. It's fascinating. I mean, there's very sad and traumatic situations that come out of it, but we're talking just the research about it, or where it all stems from. I think it's overwhelming, and it's in that way. It's very interesting.
Right. And
Mm.
so for me, like she like was in a lot of relationships, did it fail, and they failed or whatever, right? So
Right.
what's interesting is we talked about it, I think, on our last episode, but for
Yeah.
me, I had to remove the emotions from it. So that was the damage that I carried or brought
Yeah.
into my present, you know, um,
Sure.
adulthood, right? So like
Right.
I didn't realize I shut myself down emotionally,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
you pay that price, right?
Yeah.
Or what,
One
you
way or
pay,
the other.
right? So like she had to go through several years of all of that in relationships, and I didn't,
Right.
but unfortunately, that's what I brought out of this. And then now I know. And how funny, like, look at I'm at 40 something. And I realized that last year. And then look at her. She gets back with Ben. I'm
I
telling you, like, how funny. Like, she got pregnant. So I had my first child in December. And
okay.
that following February, she had her twins. We were pregnant at the same time. I'm always going to make connections with her. Okay. So just get used to that. But I'm like, how funny, like, and then when she comes to this revelation of herself,
Yeah.
you came to mine. Like, I don't know, anyways, she can
It's
black
a,
me. I'm
maybe you are far related distant relatives in some way.
somehow connected. I'm telling you,
Pretty
spiritually. I don't
awesome.
know. She's
Yeah,
my spirit sister.
I love
But
that.
I just, yeah, it was just, I wanted to share that because that always fascinates me,
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um, I'm always going to tell you guys to, self reflect, be more aware, be very self aware. Like, you really do have the answers within. And if,
Right.
as you can see, I
Yeah.
always psychoanalyze myself.
Yes.
And I love doing that. But,
It's great though, because look at what you've done for yourself because you are you're so self-aware that you understand and when we're not self-aware, we are so disconnected. And not that it's a bad thing. It just means that, okay, how do I help myself get to that place where I am? You know?
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
it is. I love it.
Yeah. So again, there wasn't a main topic for this conversation, but just connecting and bonding,
Sure. Yeah.
sharing our thoughts and our feelings.
Mm.
So I just wanted to share that. I was moved to share that. And then too, it just always gives you more insight about me. So, but my goal is, to encourage people to invest in themselves, to believe in themselves and
Mhm.
to just start doing. The time is now. Like, if you're sitting and waiting for the perfect time,
Right.
you're wasting time. We can't buy this time. We can't get it back. Like, and I think you realize that as you get older. And that's something I would tell my younger self, by the way.
Mm.
Maybe I'm going to ask you what you would tell your younger self. But for me, I would tell you, just reflecting on all of this, right?
Sure.
But the expo that I did, and then just having that realization with Jennifer Lopez and
Yeah.
little child syndrome. I would love to tell my younger self, not to take time for granted, because you
Right.
really don't, when you're young, you really do take that for granted. And then two is not to worry so much. Like, it really does all work out, and it'll align itself. Like, that's what I
Right.
would like to tell my younger self. And I had to worry because, hello, like I said, I was, figuring it out on my own, you know what I mean? And I learned by watching other people. And so,
Mhm.
that's why words to me are such a big thing, because people planted seeds without realizing it when they
Yeah.
said certain things to me, and it
Yeah.
just grew. And it's like, so it's not funny that I feel that I'm pursuing my purpose as a life coach or
Right.
doing life coaching.
Right. No, it's not just a coincidence. It's not something that you were searching for. It's something that you knew innately that this is your
Yes.
calling. This is your true calling.
Yeah.
And here you are living it, living your dream, Dawn.
Yes, I know, right? Oh, and I should tell you, that was so cute. Now that you said that, I thought
Yeah.
I should share it. So the confidence coach, I thought it was so cute. She did share with me this, but then I went and looked at it on social media. But she's like, I just can't believe this is my life. Like,
Mhm.
like, she in 2019 set out to be a confidence coach. She is now working at home full time, doing it through Zoom and virtually. Like, so she has clients, a program. She's doing her confidence coaching, and then this was her first expo as well, which was so nice.
Ooh, that's
And so
awesome.
I got so emotional because I was
Yeah.
so nervous about doing this expo. And she has a podcast, and apparently she shared this, and so people reached out and gave her like comments, and they flooded her with like love and support, and she just like really got emotional about it and was like, I can't believe this is my life. She's like, 5 years ago, I didn't expect all of this, right? But it's like
Yeah.
she's literally living her dream. And I just thought, like, oh my God, like, I'm barely starting and putting myself out there, but it,
Right.
it gives you hope. And so I just had to share that. But I just thought, oh my God, how nice. But I do feel very lucky. I have a full-time job. I have the flexibility to still do this,
Sure.
and do my passion. So yeah. But anyways, what would you tell your younger self?
Ooh, I think I would definitely tell my younger self to love myself more and get rid of the self doubt.
Yes.
Rid of it, put it aside, stop comparing yourself to others. You are beautiful as is. And there's so many beautiful traits that I didn't see about myself that I do see now. But
Oh,
it takes
Work.
there's just a lot of work, a lot of like the inner child work, and really, I mean, even now at this point in my life, it's I'm okay. Like it took me this long, but
Mhm.
I'm okay with it because I had to go through all these experiences. And I think that's, in the end, what we all have to go through. There's certain experiences that sometimes we don't know the whys, right? And we question, like, why is this happening? Why now? Or, we have those thoughts that, we don't quite have answers to that we wish we would. And then you realize maybe 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, oh man, I get it. I get it now. I get why I had to go through that.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's what I would say to
Yeah.
myself.
So you just reminded me one of the shirts I made. It says,
Yeah.
"I'm capable. I am worthy. I'm enough."
Yes.
So I think people should repeat that to themselves every
Yes.
day. I am capable. I am worthy. I am enough, because you truly are.
Yeah.
So on that note, we're going to break away. We hope you enjoyed this. And until next time, keep pushing, keep shining, keep thriving.